Tonight, an American citizen accused of plotting a firebomb attack in Israel. The Justice Department arresting the suspect at the JFK International Airport today, charged with planning to bomb a U.S. Embassy office in Tel Aviv with Molotov cocktails. The suspect allegedly posting "Death to America" on social media and threatening to assassinate President Trump. The latest on that investigation. And a fiery explosion, heavy black smoke billowing in the air after a fuel tanker collided with the bus. This busy Florida highway shut down. What we are learning about the crash and the survivor pulled from that wreckage. And millions of people at risk for severe weather ahead of the Memorial Day travel rush. What you need to know if you are headed home. And growing questions about an alleged kidnapping and torture case in New York City. The new information now coming to light. And it has been 5 years since George Floyd died in police custody. What's changed after his death sparked a movement? National parks forced to cut services and grappling with huge layoffs in the federal workforce. The big question, what does this mean for your summer vacation trip? And honoring the ultimate sacrifice, an inside look at the special Marine unit that pays final tribute to their fallen brothers and sisters.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening, I'm Gotti Schwartz in for Hallie tonight, and we start with allegations of a terrifying attack plan. 28-year-old Joseph Neumayer, an American citizen, was arrested today and is accused of plotting to firebomb a U.S. Embassy office in Tel Aviv. Federal prosecutors say he was stopped while carrying Molotov cocktails and had also posted disturbing threats on social media. Matt Bradley starts us off tonight in Tel Aviv.
Tonight, a man accused of trying to firebomb a branch office of the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv appeared in a New York court. Earlier today, Joseph Neumayer, a dual U.S.-German national, was detained at New York's JFK Airport after he was deported from Israel, where the 28-year-old allegedly planned to burn down a branch U.S. Embassy building. Neumeyer's ideology remains unknown, but his arrest comes amid growing concern over rising anti-Semitism. Just days after a gunman killed two Israeli embassy employees, couple Yaron Lachinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgram, in Washington on Wednesday. The Justice Department said in a statement that on May 19th, Neumayer approached an embassy guard and spat on the guard. He fled when guards tried to detain him, the statement said, but he left his backpack, which contained 3 Molotov cocktails, a kind of firebomb. Earlier that day, the Justice Department said Neumayer had written threatening social media posts. "Join me as I burn down the embassy in Tel Aviv," he had written. "Death to America, death to Americans." The Justice Department statement said earlier posts included plans to assassinate President Donald Trump.
And Matt Bradley joins us from that U.S. Embassy building in Tel Aviv. Matt, what kind of charges is the suspect facing here?
Yeah, well, Attorney General Pam Bondi said that Neumayer faces accusations of planning to attack this U.S. embassy behind me and threatening the lives of American citizens and President Donald Trump. If convicted, he could face up to 20 years in jail. Gotti?
Matt Bradley in Tel Aviv, thank you. To Florida now, and to an inferno on the highway, a fuel tanker bursting into flames after crashing into a bus. Priscilla Thompson has more.
A sea of massive orange flames engulfing Florida's Interstate 595.
Fire. It is a massive, holy.
After officials say a fuel tanker and public bus collided in Broward County this morning.
Massive explosion. Driver possibly still inside a vehicle.
Davie Fire says one person was taken to the hospital during a busy holiday weekend on the roads. Families passing in disbelief.
Oh, man. You can feel the heat.
Officers seen here diverting traffic as thick black plumes filled otherwise sunny skies.
There were some toxic fumes coming. I had to breathe through the towel for a while.
Traffic shut down for hours as firefighters sprayed water and repellent in a race to contain the blaze.
I felt like I was standing in front of a fire.
NBC Miami anchor and reporter Shernea Amara capturing this video on her drive home from work.
It's just dark, dark black. And then all you see from the blackness is like this, what looked like a swirl of fire. It was just so scary because I'm like, is it going to explode?
Views from above showing the aftermath, as tonight the crash still under investigation. Priscilla Thompson, NBC News.
And the Memorial Day travel rush is set to ramp up tomorrow with millions of people hitting the roads and the skies. But severe weather could make it getting home even harder. Ryan Chandler has the latest.
Tonight, severe weather slamming parts of the country during a record holiday travel weekend. Hail pelting Colorado. Even seen as far south as Florida. In Missouri, floodwaters seen from the sky after heavy rain. And in Tennessee, winds up to 45 miles an hour ripping off the roof of this tornado safe room near Memphis. 23 million people from New Mexico to Georgia at risk for tornadoes, hail, and high winds today. The risks target the South tomorrow, putting 12 million people from Arkansas to Texas and Louisiana in the warning zone for hail and tornadoes. That severe weather could target the second busiest airport in the U.S. here at DFW. Some passengers say they're heading home early to beat the weather and the waits.
We try to do it Sunday so we don't get in the Memorial Day scramble to get home.
Most Americans rushing to the roads, the vast majority opting to drive instead of fly. AAA reporting that for most people, the best time to travel on Memorial Day before 2 p.m. and the worst time between 4 and 7 p.m. Americans watching the skies and highways as the race to get home gets underway.
And Ryan joins us live. Ryan, what airports are seeing the worst of the delays right now?
Well, Gotti, the big story there right now, delays in Denver. FlightAware reporting 131 flights are delayed there right now, more than 4,000 flights delayed nationwide today. And the big concern heading into tomorrow, especially here in DFW, well, that severe weather heading in. Keep Monday flyers from heading home. Gotti?
Ryan Chandler at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, thank you. To New York City now, where we are learning more about an alleged kidnapping and torture case involving a dispute over crypto. Maya Eaglin has this report.
Do you know what happened? More questions tonight as investigators uncover the gruesome details of how a 37-year-old crypto trader allegedly tortured a man for 17 days.
It's insane. It's like, I don't know, something out of a horror movie. How didn't anyone hear the guy?
New York City police say they arrested John Woltz Friday after the alleged victim escaped from this high-priced 6-story townhome in downtown Manhattan.
What happened, sir? Did he take money from you?
Woltz's net worth is estimated to be $100 million, according to law enforcement sources. They say the victim's net worth is closer to $30 million. And law enforcement sources close to the investigation say the kidnapped man, who was from Italy, had previous connections with Woltz and another business partner. The men met up in the city on May 6th. According to a criminal complaint, over the next 2 weeks, the alleged victim says he was beaten, whipped with a gun, and subjected to other torture devices because he refused to share his Bitcoin password with Woltz and the other male accomplice, who is still wanted by police. Law enforcement sources added that the men tied an air tag on him and even urinated on the victim. Photographs of the alleged crimes, a gun, and other torture devices were found by authorities inside the home they describe as a high-end frat house filled with alcohol and stripper poles. Curious residents and tourists have stopped by the home, shocked by the details.
I'm down here pretty often, so it's wild to see something like this going on.
Woltz's lawyer declined a request for comment at this time. The crypto trader has been charged with assault, kidnapping, and criminal possession of a firearm. He's scheduled to appear again in court on Wednesday.
And Maya, what else are we hearing about the man who escaped?
Gotti authorities say that the alleged victim has not been publicly identified, and when he escaped, he was covered in cuts and bruises. He was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. Gotti.
Maya Eaglin, thank you. Now to politics, with President Trump extending his deadline on the European Union after he threatened a massive 50% tariff on that trading bloc. Yamiche Alcindor has more.
Tonight, President Trump extending the deadline to make a trade deal with the European Union as he threatens to impose a 50% tariff on the bloc of nations. The president saying he spoke with the leader of the EU.
July 9th would be the date. That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
On Friday, the president saying discussions with them were going nowhere and that he planned to roll out the new tariff as a result. In response, the European Union's top trade official saying trade must be guided by mutual respect, not threats. The EU is one of the nation's largest trading partners, with more than $900 billion in goods exchanged last year, according to the U.S. Trade Representative.
It's a genuine fear that we'll be priced out of being able to do business.
The looming deadline is especially concerning for small business owners like Joe Carney of Thanos Import Market in Syracuse, New York. Carney buys Mediterranean products like olive oil, cheeses, pasta, and vinegars.
If you could talk to President Trump, what would your message to him be?
Yeah, I would say that these threats of tariffs just aren't affecting these companies and nations overseas. They're affecting folks here and little markets like ours.
Now, Carney is bracing to see how much he may have to pass off costs to his customers. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News.
And to Europe now, where Russia launched the biggest airstrike since the war in Ukraine began, according to Ukrainian officials. Now, there were massive explosions overnight after more than 300 drones and missiles from Russia targeted more than 30 cities and villages, including the capital of Kyiv. This comes after a major prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine this weekend. And here at home, today marks 5 years since George Floyd's death in police custody, sparking a nationwide movement for police reform. But with efforts stalled or stopped across the country, Floyd's family is making a new push to change policing in America. Our Shaq Brewster is in Minneapolis tonight.
At the Minneapolis intersection where George Floyd was murdered 5 years ago, a community commemorating its loss. Floyd took his last breaths here under the knee of Derek Chauvin.
We cannot remain the same after what we have experienced here, and yet there's so much resistance to change.
In Houston, loved ones holding a private memorial service.
May 25th, my brother was murdered for the world to see.
His family emotionally renewing their push for police reform.
Let's stick to this movement and stick to the script. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue to fight.
While states have passed more than 1,500 policing-related bills since May 2020, many of them did not address police accountability and standards. And last week, the Trump administration rolled back investigations into and lawsuits reforming departments accused of discriminatory policing.
There is an expressed desire to reform the police and to invest in our communities.
Andrea Jenkins is a city council member who represents the area where Floyd was killed.
There's still a lot of trauma. You know, people are working to overcome, but we're not quite there yet.
How did you process the trauma that you felt from it?
Through photography, through community, lighting candles. I would spend,
Since 2020, Billy Briggs has taken tens of thousands of pictures of the square, steps away from where he's lived for decades.
When I watch families park in front of my house, walking over there, I know they're going over for a hard lesson, but an important one.
Lessons bringing a city closer to healing. Shaquille Brewster, NBC News, Minneapolis.
And still ahead tonight, national parks across the country are gearing up for a summer unlike any other. But after massive cuts to the federal workforce, will they be ready for your visit? That's coming up next. And we are back now with some pretty wild video. Look at this. A box truck exploding in Illinois. Authorities say the truck was carrying a leaking propane tank that exploded, damaging nearby homes and cars. Police say the truck's driver only had minor injuries. Also tonight, a major test for our national park system. This weekend is the unofficial start to summer, but with cuts to federal workers and scaled back services. The big question is whether the parks are ready for more visitors. Morgan Chesky has a closer look.
Tonight, our nation's parks promising pristine views, taking changes in stride amid a busy summer season. Today, outside Zion National Park, visitors found bumper-to-bumper traffic already backing up area roads.
And there's definitely a million people going to Zion today.
Now, as summer heats up, multiple parks sharing changes. At Yosemite, visitors arriving between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. will need reservations for entry, and many are filling up fast. In Tennessee, 12 million visitors converged last year on Great Smoky Mountains National Park. This year, 6 of 10 campgrounds are closed until further notice. At Utah's Arches, reduced staff means fewer trash cans and picnic tables. The change similar to New Mexico's Carlsbad Caverns, where ranger cave tours are suspended.
It's certainly been a roller coaster.
Lee Zimmerman, who runs 3 lodges that all serve Yosemite, says bookings haven't been this low since the pandemic. If this doesn't pick up, where does that put you?
It puts us in a really difficult situation. So if you don't get the traffic when you need it, it creates a pretty dire financial situation.
He tells us fears over park cuts plus economic uncertainty have hurt his business, adding the fraught political climate has cut down on international visitors too. Still, as we await holiday weekend numbers out of Yosemite, early reports suggest things ran smoothly, still offering the magic of a national park getaway.
Maybe it won't be in the same numbers we're used to, but we've weathered plenty of storms in our 25 years plus in the national park, so we'll weather this one as well.
Morgan Chesky, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And we're back in a moment with a rare inside look at a special Marine unit that honors and pays tribute to their fallen brothers and sisters. As we prepare to commemorate Memorial Day tomorrow, we have an inside look at how a special Marine unit provides memorial services and pays tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Our Courtney Kuby went to Arlington National Cemetery to see it for herself.
These Marines are the last ones to let you down. They're the body bearers at Arlington National Cemetery, who carry fallen Marines to their final resting place. Colonel Carrie Batson is the first woman to ever serve as their commander.
If there's a Marine who dies in service to the nation, the body bearers are rendering that final honor, that final salute to that Marine.
It's a physically and emotionally grueling job. Performing up to 8 funerals a day, 5 days per week, these 6 Marines carry caskets weighing up to 1,000 pounds.
We only use 6. Other services use 8 because Marines are different. We believe 6 looks better, and it's the least we can do for our fallen.
Their unlikely training ground, a parking garage at the Marine Corps Barracks in Washington, where this elite unit learns to carry caskets at shoulder height, higher than other military services. Then they raise it over their heads as a final salute before laying it to rest. Their mission? Make it look effortless.
You'll see a lot of entry-level students struggle. They'll make faces, they'll make noises when we train down the lower parking. So we try and kind of take away those habits of making faces, grunting.
And show no emotion.
To have that flawless bearing, to have perfect discipline in your body and your face, to be able to still bear that weight of the casket or the urn, it's the ultimate sign of respect to that family.
Quiet professionals serving across long distances on uneven ground and in all types of weather.
We do it for the family, make sure that they get that funeral they deserve, and just stick to the sequence. Nothing changes. That's their one and only, so we want to make sure it's perfect for them.
They put their lives on hold, committing nearly 3 years for this mission, each performing hundreds of funerals, and supporting one another when the job gets tough.
Knowing you're not going through it alone, you have 5 other people who are on that box, 5 other brothers.
Honoring Marines like Colonel Bruce Peifel, laid to rest by Marines who stand with their brother until the end. Courtney Kuby, NBC News, Arlington, Virginia.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Sunday. I'm Gotti Schwartz. For all of us here at NBC, thank you for watching and have a great week.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.